previous Buddhas, Vipassi Buddha, Sikhi Buddha, etc. and other Aryas reliant on the Ariyavasa Dhamma. And also the present Gautama Buddha have to rely on the Ariyavasa Dhamma, and the future Buddhas and Aryas we rely on the Ariyavasa Dhamma. Ariyavasa Dhamma is the protection against all the evils of life cycle. The first of Ariyavasa Dhamma is mindfulness. Be mindful, observe every object, and constantly protect yourself. So Aryas observe every object and they constantly protect themselves. Their defense system is complete, but in the beginning the practitioner their defense system is not complete. It is like a schoolboy learns his lesson step by step. He have to note everything arising, presently arising phenomena occurring at the six sense doors. He have to note every seeing, every hearing, smelling, etc. You have to note every rising and falling. You have to know every sitting, standing, walking, lying, and thinking, etc. As long as yogi is awake, he should he should develop mindfulness. Yogi practice again and again, and he develops the ability to observe all sense impression. If his training complete, he attains the first three Aryan stages. There is mega, one after another, until at last he becomes an arahant. And then his mindfulness leaves no loophole for the influx of mental defilements. In reality, although there are 10 Ariyavasa Dhamma, 10 noble dwellings, perfect mindfulness suffice to ensure total accomplishment to them. True, Buddha expounded the other 9 Dhammas for the spiritual uplift of the practitioner, but in fact, the key to his overall teaching lies in mindfulness. Hence, just before Buddha passed away, he summed up his doctrine in his last words. Buddha said, Hanta Dani Bhikkhave Amandayami Wo Vayadhamma Sinkhara Apamadena Sampadeta. Bhikkhus, practitioner, here is my last advice to you. All compounded things, all psychophysical processes are subject to disintegration. Work out your own salvation with mindfulness. It is the last words of the Buddha. All compounded things, all sankharas are impermanent. There is nothing eternal. There is nothing reliable in them. There is a statement of paramount importance. Although most people do not take it seriously. They believe in personal identity. They believe in permanent ego or self. The average man believes that he can live for a long time with his life force and body. But mind and body and all other conditioned things are impermanent. They are in a flux. They are ephemeral. They are lasting a very short moment. They are ever dissolving and passing away. So there is no substantial, everlasting foundation for our conditioned existence. There is nothing to be reliable. So what we have to rely upon? We have to rely on Nirvana. So to realize Nirvana for our liberation, we have to practice right mindfulness. Right mindfulness is the Sinikanam, the most essential of Buddhist mental development. So apamada, right mindfulness, is equal to all Buddha teaching. In the last words of the Buddha, apamadena sampadita, practice the Dharma fully and thoroughly with mindfulness. Like the deathbed advice of our parents to children, this last saying of the Buddha should remain fresh forever in the minds of practitioner, because it is an admonition that we should bear in mind and apply to our practice, apply to our daily life. In fact, the commentary described it as the acme of the Buddha teaching, the quintessence of the entire Buddha's teaching in the Pali Canon. The Ariyavasa Sutta explains it together with its adjuncts, but the keynote of the whole or Ariyavasa Sutta is mindfulness. For the practice of right mindfulness involves the application of all the other dhammas. And it also mentioned to develop our mindfulness, yogis have to access to the 4 basic necessities of life. 4 requisites yogi have to rely on: the food, clothing, medicine, and lodging. 4 basic necessary have to be relied on to develop our mindfulness. And then patience, forbearance in emotional response to unpleasant sense impression. Yogi have to be patient with the sound, emotional response, and pain, etc. Yogi have to be patient. Yogi should not be discouraged with these unpleasant sensations. And avoidance of dangerous places. During the practice of meditation, dangerous place, yogi have to avoid, not to go there. And then elimination of sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, and skeptical doubt. Yogi have to remove 5 hindrances. This Dhamma calls for overcoming the 5 nivarana mental hindrances to enlightenment and nirvana. The yogi need not exert too much effort to achieve this object if his or her mindfulness is effective enough to cope with them. And something about the way to remove the first mental hindrance of sensual desire. The sooner yogis overcome sensual desire, the better. The sooner yogi overcomes sensual desire, the better, for otherwise it would be like being a hostage to a debt that burdens us all the time. A good example of its danger is the story of the monk Desa, who was dragged down to the animal world by it. A week later, he passed on to Tavatesa heaven, Tavatesa celestial realm, because he was no longer attached to his robe. He reflected on his merits in his monk life, and he became mindful of his good deeds in the past. So he reborn in the Tavatesa heaven. The rebirth of a man as a louse, and then reborn as a celestial beings, may be confusing to common people, but it is quite understandable. The rebirth of a monk as a louse, and then rebirth of Deva, celestial beings, may be confusing to common people, but quite understandable. After all, it is mental force or mental energy that determines the quality of a man's future life. There is no impediment, no obstacle to its sudden transfer to a higher plane of existence or lower planes of existence, depending on the state of his consciousness at the last moment of his life. Depending on the wholesome state of mind, beings can transfer to a higher realm. And depending on the defiled mind, beings can transfer to lower states. To be reborn as a louse or to be reborn in the lower states is indeed frightening, but it does not matter if we can overcome sensual desire through mindfulness. Now yogis have a chance to note and reject and overcome sensual desire through the practice of meditation. When the yogi becomes perfectly mindful, he attains Sotapanna, the first stage of the Aryan path, that protects him or her completely from rebirth in the lower states. Then at the Anagami stage, yogi eradicates all kinds of sensual desire, and when he becomes an arahant, he or she is totally liberated from the subtle desire for material and immaterial existence. During our practice of meditation, we have to encounter another mental hindrances, that is ill-will or vyabhata. It is a state of consciousness afflicted with resentment, irritation, displeasure, and the like in the face of an unpleasant sense objects. Ill-will, vyabhata, is like a disease. Just as we should waste no time in treating even a minor ailment like headache, cough, and cold, so also it is up to us to deal quickly with ill temper, and we have to get rid of ill-will through mindfulness. So resentment, irritation, and displeasure are like diseases. Yogis don't waste any time getting rid of these with mindfulness. We have to recite motto number 4. Or it is a just minor case, headache, cough, etc. It doesn't matter. We have to accept it. It is not like this. We have to, if we have medicine, we have to take medicine, and we have to take medicine to get rid of the kinds of minor ailment. So also we have to deal promptly with ill will and get rid of it through mindfulness. Ill temper is compared to disease in another respect. An unhealthy man usually has no appetite for food, and what is sweet for others may be bitter for him. His lack of appetite is entirely due to his ill health. In the same way, in the view of an ill-tempered man, there is something wrong with most of his relatives, friends, or acquaintances. Formerly, he might welcome the advice of his friends, the advice of his parents and family. He thanked them for their kindness. But when he or she is angry, he turns a deaf ear to them. He rejects what they say by way of intervention in a quarrel, or even hates them under the impression that they are supporting his enemy. Therefore, we need to be cautious when we try to pacify an angry man. By and large, to quarreling men, we resent any attempt to mediate between them and bring them to their senses. We would be in trouble if we try to prevent violent eruption, if we try to head off violent eruption among quarreling people. For, consumed with hatred, they do not heed what we say with the best of intention. So when we are furious about anything, we should consider ourselves infected with disease and restrain our anger quickly. Otherwise, it will get worse and in the end happen disaster for its victims as well as for other people. Therefore, from time to time we hear news reports of battle among countries, news about friction, disputes, and bitter quarrels among mutual beloved family members whose anger broke loose and ended up in bloodshed and massacre. Once in one village, there was a tragic death of a girl stemming from her disagreement with her elder sister over a trivial matter. In that episode, the elder sister threw up a pair of scissors, wounding her younger sister fatally. Such crimes cause much grief and remorse even though they are committed accidentally. Thus, anger, ill will, vyavada is the root cause of many violent crimes, and the suffering of some people, including beloved ones of those who cannot control anger. We will continue the second mental hindrances, vyavada nivarana, ill will. Next time we have to stop our discourse for today by getting rid of mental defilements with continuous meditation, by practicing Satipatthana Vipassana meditation continuously, meticulously and resourcefully. May all good practitioners realize the real peace in the very near future.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.